Hello, lovely learners. Welcome back to A Life Learned. First, I want to start off by reassuring anyone who has made a video request in the past that I am still accepting them. I do write them down, and I do intend to fulfill the ones I feel capable of fulfilling in the future. I just kind of all over the place with school right now, so I'm kind of just vlogging what's on my mind. But I write them all down, so I just wanted you to know that I'm not ignoring you guys. It's just kind of a back burner thing right now, and I totally intend to get to them. But what I wanted to reflect on today, as you might be able to tell from the title, is the concept of specifically keeping my word to myself. So this is a little bit longer of a story than you might expect, but I have a bit of a complex with keeping my word to other people. I have a history with it in the sense that, unfortunately, as a child, I experienced a lot of promises that were unfulfilled, a lot of talk that didn't lead to anything, didn't come to fruition. Combination of reasons. One is that, my dad was a bit of a dreamer and just had a lot of ideas that he wanted to fulfill and didn't. And then both my parents were rather impoverished, as you guys know, so it just made a lot of situations not possible, where they had every intention of doing something and then they're like, oops, sorry, I can't afford it. Or it just nothing came of it. There's lots of dreaming. But as a kid, like, it felt, I don't know, like promises. It felt like, when the adult tells you something's going to happen or that they're looking forward to something, you believe what they're saying and that it's going to happen. And so there was an immense amount of disappointment, which led to a bit of a complex for me where I really grew to dislike the idea of people telling me they were going to do something on any level. It could be as menial as we're going to meet up and they don't show up, or as important as, I'm going to work with you on this project and do my half and then they don't. On any level, if you tell me you're going to do something and you don't do it, it affects me. I get really disappointed, and thus refuse to be, I guess you could say, I've come to think of it as to be a talker. I don't want to be someone who just talks. If I say I'm going to do something, then I do it. And funny enough, that's actually what generated the creation of this channel. Like many people, lots of people have ideas of, I want to start this channel, I think I could do this, I think I could do that, and just like fun ways of being creative in video. And not hating on anyone, but a lot of us are busy in life and we just don't get around to it. And so I had those intentions, and then I was talking to a friend one day over Facebook, and for the first time I outwardly voiced to them that I had intentions of starting a YouTube channel. And then after that conversation I just sort of sat there and I felt obligated to make it a reality and to no longer just be like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? Because I told someone out loud that I was going to do it. So I know I take it to a bit of an extreme, and I try to be reflective and a bit more reasonable in some senses, but at the same time I'm just a bit stubborn about it. I am a person of my word. Further, I was also raised a bit through my abuser on old-time values that your word is all you have, and I realize that's not entirely accurate, but it's something I do kind of believe in, that you are as good as your word. If you keep your word, then you are a reliable person, then you are a trustable person, then you are a dependable person, and who wouldn't want to be that? Certainly I had the experience of a lot of adults who didn't have those skills when I was a child, and it caused me a lot of pain. So again, led to a bit of a complex where I've been very stubborn about keeping my word to people. Even when it's like saying that I'll study with someone and then we keep having to reschedule. This actually just recently happened. and I had no reason to stay on campus after an event, but I did so that I could study with her. We actually didn't end up studying anyways, but she was feeling so bad that I was so stubborn to try and keep my word and study with her, because I said I would. She's like, you're just doing that because you're a good person, but like, I feel bad that you're even here because I still need to go do this and this and this and this before I can study. So anyway, tangent, excuse me. So long story short, when I say I'm going to do something, no matter how menial it is, I do it. But this has only ever applied to other people. It's if I gave my word to someone else, because I hate so intensely, I pain so intensely from other people disappointing me, from other people telling me they're going to do something and then not following through, not at least telling me that, you know, the plan needs to change, like, you know what I mean? I always make an obsessive point of keeping my word to other people, because I don't want anyone else to see me in that light, to see me as someone who's disappointing, or who's not who doesn't keep their word, who isn't as good as their word, who can't be relied on. And yet, I have never been good at keeping my word to myself. I shouldn't say never. That was a bit of an exaggeration. I'm stubborn about certain things, like school. And when I say I'm gonna do, you know, I want to achieve this, I fucking throw myself into it, excuse my French, and I just work as hard as I can. I put everything I have into it to the point of not taking care of other parts of life, like self-care, because I'm like, you know, I have this goal and no one else is really holding me to it except me, but I want it. So I keep that promise to myself. But it's only with things like school. And I guess like economically based, career based, saving money, not so much, I've been bad with that, but like saving money. I can't save money, I more mean managing money, but like when it comes to taking care of myself and making promises to myself, or having thoughts to myself about taking care of myself, being good to myself, doing things that are just for me, that I guess you could or basically fall within self-care, or just good mental health practices, because I'm the only one holding me to it and no one else is affected, at least in my mind that's how I see it, to whether I do it or not. Like, I'm not failing to keep my word to someone else. I just drop the ball constantly. Or I have. But in the last couple days, I just had a kind of an epiphany moment where I realized if I'm so adamant to be a person of my word, it counts just as much that I keep my word to myself as anyone else. It's basically because of a lack of self-value, and because I didn't see my parents, particularly my mother, take care of themselves much, that I didn't learn the habits. Funny though, because I didn't exactly see them apply themselves to academics. You know, again though, that's very much just me being stubborn and not wanting to be poor. So I'm just like, to not be poor, I will work my ass off on this. But it's like, you also want to be mentally healthy. You also want to maintain your youth. You also, like, who doesn't want to be healthy? So if those are things you want, why don't you keep those promises to yourself? Why don't you dedicate yourself to those things too? Yeah, just interesting questions and to reflect on. And just an interesting realization that if I'm so stubborn to be a person of my word, then it counts that I keep my word to myself as well. So in the last few days, this has led to me getting myself to start exercising again in the morning. That used to be a routine that I broke. I've been eating better. I've been watching what I eat. And I've been letting myself relax a little instead of just working constantly. So it's been different. I'm also not like forcing myself to change everything at once. I'm trying to take steps so that I don't, how do you say, jump all in and then fall off the wagon and feel bad. Excuse me, dry throat. Steps, but at the same time, I'm finding it much easier than I ever did to commit to self-care because I'm realizing that it's about keeping my word to myself. And I'm so obsessive about keeping my word that I'm able to apply that obsession, I guess, or that determination to keep my word to the idea of self-care. So yeah, I'm just curious, what do you guys think of that? What do you think of the concept of like keeping your word to other people but having a hard time keeping it to yourself? I've learned that there's different approaches to this. My friend actually was noting that he feels a lot like the opposite, where he's just like, if I'm going to do something, it's because I committed to it because I want to do it, like, because I'm keeping my word to myself. I don't care if I let other people down, like, that's their problem. So, it's interesting, different perspectives. I'm curious what your perspective is, and do you struggle with self-care, and how do you overcome that? Do you feel like this is helpful, this idea of, like, keeping your word to yourself and seeing it in that light? Or I guess it's just like an expansion on the idea of treat yourself the way you treat others. But this is just how I've sort of mentally formulated it in a way that I can fully like grasp the importance of it and commit in a way that I couldn't before. Even though I've preached self-care left, right, and center in my videos, so much easier said than done, right? When you don't have the base belief, I'm worth it and I should, and this is something that is worth committing to. Like, I feel school is worth committing to get out of poverty. Well, now I feel self-care is worth committing to maintain my health, because in the end it doesn't matter if I have money if I'm dead because I haven't taken care of myself, right? So please do share your thoughts about this below. It's been a very interesting revelation for me, and I'd love to know if anybody else has had a revelation like this, or just how you feel about the concept in general. And as always, please do join me again next week or sometime soon, where I try again to share a little something I've learned or experienced in life.